this journey has reached its end. He came to know the goodness of a hero's heart, and became the king his people had always hoped. But
Whoops.
as this journey ends, so another begins. I'd like you to watch over him on his path for a little longer yet.
Fantazio to you, please.
Or
ReFantazio?
The arrival of the new king.
1 year later. They're gonna let me roam around 1 year later. That's actually really neat. Oh, 12:30. What the heck? That's insane. We have not had this music in so long. That's true. Ringo was a fully established character. We could get another Ringo.
Hey, heard the news? They're finally reopening that mage academy that got closed down.
Oh, how neat. I was wondering what was up with that place. But yeah, I would rather have like Ringo. Like Ringo is like basically like more of a character than the Elder, but I appreciated the Elder. I guess it's similar to how I feel about Alex and Lunar, where Alex has like very few lines and he's not incredibly silent. I still appreciated the Elder as a protagonist, and just hearing his voice and the lines was pretty good. Mostly his voice delivery for some was really nice.
You don't say. The famous one deep in the Montario Mountains. Really? I'm impressed. It only took them a year.
They've even paved a proper mountain road. And get this, their headmistress is none other than Lady Juna.
What? The songstress?
Well, she is one of the king's 6 partisans. If she managed to help save the world from Luis, I expect she knows a thing or two about magic. Sounds like they plan to fully open the magic researchers' findings to the people, too. Quite a turn from when the late Sanctifex banned it.
Makes sense to me. After the clash between His Majesty and Luis last year, everyone knows you don't really need an igniter to use magic.
And that's just today's news. It's surprise after surprise, ever since us church folk got the boot from the palace.
Hard to believe it's already been a full year. Only natural that there would still be unrest. There would still be unrest among the people.
Even the Royal Knights. Their leadership was bound to the church more than anything. And now he's out on his ear too. And replaced by Sir Jaime Nocturne. You believe that? The Royal Knights, led by a Uchief of all things. Though he's one of the 6 partisans himself. When he speaks, everyone listens. No one's about to complain.
Even Parliament now invites citizen representatives to hearings. Strange to think we'd been deaf to the voice of the people until now. It's unbelievable, compared to the days of the autocrats. How swiftly the times change, eh?
Credit where it's due. I think it's thanks to His young Majesty. Remember last year's coronation? Unprecedented, that. Saw heroes of all different tribes celebrating the king's victory. Celebrating among the common folk, even. They tell me some of the younger aristocrats have taken to calling it the Great Reconciliation. It really is a tragedy, what happened to his father, the king. But considering how his sons turned out, I hope he's at peace.
Indeed. Yet the real test is still to come. The first year has seen a lot of good, but we've still got our share of problems.
People are smiling more now, but smiles won't solve the multitude of problems we still face.
Speaking of His Majesty, I've also heard some folks saying they've seen a boy wandering around these parts who looks just like him. You don't suppose?
Bah, can't be. Without his escorts? Besides, what business would a king have in this place?
Oh yeah, what business indeed.
Suppose you're right.
Where's Gallica? We probably still have a lot of ending to go, but I'm excited. Oh, hey, Hulkenberg.
Mountains upon mountains of appeals from the people. How many days will this take to sort?
After all the trouble you took to flee politics. And somehow you're now the preeminent ladyship of your house.
Yo, my boy got a glow
Such
up?
is fate.
Despite everything, this year has passed in surprising peace, hasn't it? Honestly, with the royal scepter disappearing like that, I feared more dissent.
Perhaps after Luis, they swore they could never let that happen again. Either way, More and more are dealing with conflicts calmly and openly. Promising.
It promises that I'll have an eternally cluttered desk.
Here,
Ah, there she is.
Majesty. I've brought in the next load.
Galaga didn't get a glow up. Sucks to suck. She looks the exact same.
Bad, right? Hey, isn't the king supposed to be here?
When did he? I've said countless times not to leave unannounced.
Oh, all this decoration doesn't suit me. How would Louise and Forden put up with all this damn finery? Your Majesty? Are you here? Juna's back from her inspection.
What is Juna wearing?
Apologies, Troll. I'll look for him now.
Wait, I'm coming with you. Oh, good grief. Some things never change. Not that they should.
She's become a
Life has
witch?
changed plenty for us. Yet somehow our captain's same as he ever was.
Has a really long cape. Juna with the witch hat looks so weird to me. I don't think I'll ever get used to it.
And then, well, I might have got a bit too fresh with them stuck-up sanctists. But those bloody church folk been looking down on us for years, you know? Still, it was other sanctists what stepped in to keep things peaceable too. I reckon they're not all bad. Guess me cogs turning. They lost both their Santifex and the Saint Lady last year. Got their own struggles, I expect.
As authority weakens, power falls into the hands of those who have never wielded it. We must ensure it does not corrupt and give rise to new conflict.
Not like it excuses all of them or makes me want to go up and shake a sanctor's hand, but you really put some perspective on it.
I believe you'll come to understand them.
You know what, lad? You're all right. You ever need some good, honest work? I'll get you squared, eh?
Glad to see more optimism in the world. Still, it'll take more than that to affect true change.
I should have known you'd be wandering around without your escorts again. How is it, being able to hear the city's honest thoughts?
It's great not having my escorts.
If you told them you're the king, it'd knock them sideways. Sorry you ended up coming all this way. Maria's actually out on an errand right now.
And I suppose I'll wait until she comes back.
You sure? That girl always ends up on detours. No telling how long she'll be. Either way, best keep your head down. You know what happens when you're too obvious about this. Sooner or later, the Lady Captain of the Royal Guard...
Oh, there you are. I knew we'd find you here, for crying out loud.
Oh man, vacation's over.
So you were here.
I think I like Hulkenberg's design. I'm not sure how I feel about the hat. I mean, it doesn't look bad. I'm just trying to think if I like it on her. It looks fine, though.
Speak of the devil.
Let us return, Your Majesty. And I thought I had informed you that Juna would be back from her expedition today.
I suppose I have no choice.
What is it? You have unfinished business.
I don't know, maybe.
'Tis settled. I shall come with you on every excursion.
Not dressed like that, you won't. You know how we like snooping around, inconspicuously.
Point taken.
He'll be fine. His Majesty is not about to fall prey to some alleyway scoundrel, surely. Right, Your Majesty. If you see Maria about, do slow down for a chat. She'll be shattered if she finds out she just missed you.
Fine. Now, Your Majesty, once your business here is finished, please make sure you return to the palace with all swiftness.
Okay, do I get to roam around here? I think I do.
All right.
Maria, where are you?
Go.
This reminds me of the first time Maria went missing. It seems so long ago now. She might be praying in the cathedral, just like back then. Before heading to the cathedral, why not go talk to everyone? Alright, you know, like, I do want to, like, get to the credits and talk about it, but, like, I feel like I have to talk to everyone. I put in so much time in the game, I feel like I have to talk to everyone. Hulkenberg, we were just talking.
Come now.
When you finish your business outside the palace, please promise you'll return to your duties. If you take this as my relax. Need to miss so serious, Hulkenberg. Lighten up, maybe? You mean to say I'm too fussy? Well, 'tis only proper for the captain of the Royal Guard. To be overfamiliar would be a poor example. Imagine the scandalized faces of the rank-and-file guard. That said, not a day goes by that I don't reflect on our travels. Now only a year past, I owe regaining my pride as a knight to that journey. I was a wanderer searching in vain for the prince, and it was through you I learned he yet lived. In the end, it was your ascent to the throne I supported. I never tired of faces dear regards, Verdant. Thanks to you, I was able to face him with eyes forward and put my past behind me. Pleased to say the knights of today are nothing like they were under Verdant's command. Soldiers take up their sword not for those in power, but for the people. As the champion of the people yourself, we will do all in our power to protect you or your king.
Well,
You don't need to make it easy by sneaking out of the palace as you do, though I suspect the soldiers are getting used to your chaotic tendencies. They know they protected not just a king, but a ruler who stands beside his people and hear their voices in clarion truth. I'll protect you with my life, as I always have endeavored to do, your majesty. Only let me stay by your side to do so. There's two other people we can talk to. Is it everyone? It's literally everyone. Not more. More's gone. Alright, so I'm just splicing this in to get the rest of the NPC dialogue that I didn't do when I streamed this game last and finished it. We're just gonna go and talk to all of our followers because, you know, I spent so much time with the game and I want to see what they all have to say after a year has passed.
Hey.
Skulking about the city again, are we? I don't know why I said shulking there. Which is to say Hulkenberg's on the hunt, the classic game of cat and mouse, though who is which, I dare not say. It's been a year since you ascended the throne, but it's like you've hardly changed. You haven't changed much either, Stroll. That's Lord or General Stroll, your majesty. I'll never get used to such titles. I really should take a page from Juna's book. She has a gift for delegating like she was born to do. Not that I can talk, I actually came out for a bit of a breather myself. You know, I see now that even those at the top have those struggles, a little too clearly. A general's duties feel overwhelming at times. But there are lives hanging in the balance. I recognize the weight of every decision I make, and I do find satisfaction in protecting those lives. Remember our first meeting at the recruitment center? I, a fallen noble with nothing to my name, and you a struggling elder traveler? Back then, my only goal was getting ahead. My people were a little more than an afterthought. If I hadn't met you, I'd never realized the truth about my fortune, my father's intentions, and I certainly couldn't have saved the Hollians. I owe seeing the joy in their faces to you. I think I've said it before, but again, thank you. You need to give yourself some credit, Stroll. I would still owe any credit I could take to you for showing me the way. They live stable, peaceful lives thanks to you. You have a whole country on your shoulders now. The road ahead will be full of challenges we can't possibly foresee. But show me the way and I'll blaze the trail. Now and always, it's my role as a warrior to be the vanguard. Our titles may have changed, but I'd like to think our friendship is as steadfast as ever. Don't hesitate to rely on me now and always. Alright. Moving on to Heisme. I imagine these are like maybe for getting the follower ranks done. Probably. Like in Persona. Oh, you guys are next to each other. Well, I see your king is out on some personal business, huh? I believe Hulkenberg was searching for you, but I suppose it's none of my business who comes or goes. I'm on break myself. Only try not to frustrate your royal guards over much, They all take their duties quite seriously, much like their captain. Ah, who am I kidding? A knight who smiles is surely a myth. That becomes clear to me since becoming titled. What could be more bizarre? A Jujif outcast, once a wanted criminal with a bounty on his head, made knight commander. There was of course some opposition at first, but the more heart-to-heart talks I've had, the more accepting they've become, albeit gradually.
Right.
The world has only begun to change. Indeed, grand titles and posts across the nation are held by all manners of tribes now, each contributing with their respective strengths. I've realized over the past year just how much of a nation is defined by its people. No matter how great a king is, he alone does not make a country. Yet he stands for those very people as a simple and representative. That the king and those around him are mixed tribes, has already caused a great shift in sentiment, even for those in the rural villages. You speak of your hometown, yes? Indeed, they had shut themselves away and now they actively engage with other villagers. Your coronation inspired that village to greater heights. It proved that barriers could be broken and that even they could take the first step. New winds are blowing in every corner of the country. I'll have to make another trip back home with my son to see the changes for myself soon enough. Someday I hope distant generations will grow up only knowing conflict born of tribal differences from history books. We got a ways to go before that day comes, but until it does, let's forge the path toward it, your majesty.
Yo.
Hey, out inspecting again? Seems a right pain to me, but I appreciate you going to all the effort. Making your rounds, Basilio? Yeah, Captain of the Chaudian Brigade reporting in, and I'm pleased to report that there's nothing to report, Your Majesty, so I'm taking a break. Bit of a mouthful, ain't it? Still not used to calling myself a captain. Besides, we're even taking in some survivors from Luis's troops, you know, but don't you worry, I got 2 eyes on them when I ain't looking. Way I see it, they weren't the ones trying to make the world worse. I just gotta show them power how it's supposed to be used, yeah? We owe it to you that there's less discrimination in the city these days. Fewer and fewer are turning to a life of crime to make ends meet. If Del could see Grand Tread today, his eyes would bug out. And not just Del, a lot of the guys who didn't make it out. I take it you mean Vinka? You remember him? Those damned experiments trapped him in a vengeance he couldn't see past. I feel like he might even see a smile. I feel like he might even smile to see what I'm up to now. We built this piece with a lot of blood and tears, so I say those of us who made it this far owe it to all of them what didn't to protect them. Maybe I got nothing to report today, but it's not like bad people just stop being bad because you're a king now. You've been through a lot though, so thanks for not giving up on us or the world for that matter. You spot any trouble that I didn't spot first, you just point me at it, I'll solve it quick like.
This place is really
There's another follower. Down here. Oh, Alonzo.
Pleasure to see you.
Why hello, Your Majesty. It's only been a year since your coronation, but I see you become quite apt to sneaking away from your palatal duties. Under constant fire from knaves of all trades, con artists and critics alike, their opening act has been rather tumultuous, no? Oh, has it? Hadn't noticed. Oh, how kingly of an answer. Never missing an opportunity to display how capable you are. Commendable. Besides, most of those agitators are kind of scum that stirs the pot in hopes and that they might benefit from the country's turmoil. Nothing I couldn't handle, of course, all in the day's work for the Royal Adjutant of the Citizens' Council. Quite an ally I've made, I should hope. Oh my word.
Hey.
Feel my throat. Wonder if my mother would be the slightest bit proud to see who I've become. That I'm doing my damnedest to use my talents for good, as I always should have. There's no doubt in my mind. I hope so. I was such a problem child. I like to make this a country where honest folk like my mother can be happy.
Now that you mention it.
Ah, that reminds me. Remember Dodera, my hometown's landowner? He told me to send you his regards. He's since confessed his crimes and is awaiting trial. You were the one who awakened his conscience. It makes sense, doesn't it? You've proven your ideals to be true. That's why the country's doing so well. There's nothing more to it. I'm hardly qualified to speak of pride, but if this country has one, it's you. And I'm proud to be among its people. Perhaps under your rule, the day will come that even we Nydia can walk freely in our forms. Ah, you're curious what I look like in my true form. I'd be happy to oblige, but let's save that for another time, shall we? I totally forgot you would have a true form. We're gonna save Gina for last. Basilio's my favorite character, but we'll save Gina for last.
Greetings.
Working hard as ever, huh? Were you going about town and listening to what people have to say? Myself, I've just come from the Crown Court, where I've been consulting with the people about their grievances and disputes as Chief Magistrate.
Well,
our court is taking on common grievances.
Yes, of course.
In the past, we were busy with cases of violence and theft, but those have decreased remarkably. As you're undoubtedly aware, in the past many citizens were sentenced to hang without so much as a trial. I'm pleased to report things are different now. Anyway, anyone regardless of race or status can tell their side of the story in court and be judged equally and fairly. It just goes to show anything is possible, even for a priestess to become Chief Magistrate. And my brother's making great strides as village chief. He rather hated the role before, but he's truly found his calling, I think. As I said, no one knows what the future holds. It's all the more reason I try to guide people to good choices. I want to live in a society that practices kindness, where those who suffer need not turn to crime, and so I practice what I preach. The other day I went to visit Ovi's church to inquire with those who are sick there about how the kingdom can be more accessible to them. Was Ovi doing well? Yes, we practiced dancing together and then we showed her mother. All of them are ready to ease into working again. Hearing them made me reflect on all the people who still need our help. Until now, the only hope those people had was God. I want to fight for them to have options under laws and systems that they can rely on in addition to higher power. A country where all the tribes with all their values can join hands in harmony, that's what we need. You aim to achieve that too, yes, Your Majesty? I hope you'll allow me to keep walking alongside you in this. Alright. Nuris, Katarina, Bard, and Brigida, and then let's do Brigida now. And then we'll save Juna for last. King himself, out browsing the shops. Ha, perhaps I need to draft up a royal certificate of appointment. Tell the word we supply goods to the royal family. It's a little embarrassing. Why stop there? You can give me a signed handprint to display on the walls. Ha, no, just my little joke. We're doing quite well even without royal endorsement. The igniter I made at the children's request, the one that lights up with rainbow colors, is selling startlingly well. The store was packed with families and children. I now hold a position where I control the distribution of all manner of goods throughout the kingdom as the head of the Igniter Consortium. I can't help but think that if I had been in this position sooner than the church's violence, the tragedy of that village could have prevented.
But
there was nothing you could have done at the time, Brigida. I know that. I only rose to this position once you became king and shed light on what lurked in the shadows of the country. Though you can't take full credit as it were, I was nominated for my new position by my colleagues. Our new king has changed the country for the better. However, as a former arms dealer, it would be naive to think all weapons can ever disappear from this world. It's all the more reason I hope the reasons for people to wield them continue to decline. To that end, I'll continue doing all that I possibly can with all that I am, just as you do. Ah yes, remember my dog? I found the one who took her. Naturally, I considered ending their lives. But there she was, sitting beside them. Evidently, they could not bring themselves to harm such a sweet creature. It's a dog, of course not. So they decided to keep her instead, as any normal person would. I had no choice but to spare their lives. Couldn't subject the gentle dog to the atrocities I'd commit in their name. You should come play with her sometime. I'm sure she remembers you. I'll definitely be back to visit that dog. If they make a ReFantazio 2, let me see the dog.
But...
Oh, what brings His Royal Majesty here? Come to feel the wind on your face too, have ya? I know how it is. I have the fancy old title of Chief Engineer of the Kingdom of Infrastructure Development Bureau, and can research as I please now, but something's missing. So I threw off that stuffy old uniform and came to gaze upon the runner in the way I do.
about that.
I feel like I know what you mean when you say something's missing. I knew you'd agree. I think my bones were aching to feel the wind. I'd rather miss the days of dashing hither and thither in the runner. Not that I'm ungrateful for the gracious title you've given to a man who used to skulk about, modifying gauntlet runners. If you haven't seen anything yet, why one day I'll invent a teleportation device that will deliver fresh fish straight from the Oceana to your palatial plates. It would change the world, wouldn't you say? I'm just a bit, stuck. At the beginning on the development.
Indeed.
It's times like this I need stimulation of the mind. You have anything that might do the trick? It will be a little too convenient. Drat. Even the Master Relic Hunter has no leads. Dare I ask how it was you were able to find those dreadful things so quickly? Plot convenience. Even if the relics themselves were better off left untouched, they become the guiding principles of my research, you know? Convenience is important, but one must consider safety and effects it might have on the world. An engineer who dumps a burden on future generations is no engineer at all. Still, it's no small feat to design with the perfect balance of safe and revolutionary. Even I struggle with it, and I'm a badly genius. I knew it when I needed stimulation. But, Your Majesty, you know, like the soul-shaking speed and quiver of a drive engine? You'll let me know if you ever want to go out for a spin, won't you? Our dear old girl's sparkling clean and always ready for a takeoff.
You alright, mate?
Yeah, mate.
Hi there.
Oh well, if it ain't the big man himself. Good timing, mate. I just got back into town. Long time no see, Katarina. Ain't it been? I've been traveling out since I took the reins on the Seekers Recon team. Hard to believe it's been half a year. Crazy doesn't begin to describe what's beyond the sea. The sights, the magic, everything's so fantastic. I'm already itching to get back out there. Well, I'm not especially keen on dodging the bloody cannonballs when my ship gets too close. Lots of tension there, but what country isn't a little tense? Everyone from the customs to the way they think is so different, my head spins. Makes all the tribal bickering seem right dull if I could speak my mind. But this country's changing for the better. Glad I turned over the throne to you.
Hold on.
Turned it over to me, did you? Yeah, I knew you'd do the right by the Parapus, so I bowed out early to give you a fighting chance. Haha, just kidding. All my cohort have found jobs, and some of them have even picked up new skills from being out at sea so long.
Soon, I hope.
Don't worry your kingly head, I'll have it all whipped up and report for you. Do something proper kingish with it, yeah? I don't know when we'll meet again. We are gonna meet right now, pardon?
That's something.
What an unexpected coincidence, Your Majesty. No guards with you today? Ha, don't worry, I'm no tattletale. I myself just left a meeting going over how the provincial governments are doing. We convened for the new year.
Really?
I assume you're pretty busy these days.
Well,
I'd be lying if I said I wasn't, but the job is its own reward, knowing what good it does for the town. I'm pleased to report, as head of the provincial lords, it's nothing but good news reaching my ears. Better relations between towns is employment up and overall welfare too. Each town has specialties and wisdom to offer, and when we combine our heads, there's no problem we can't solve. I just feel so blessed to be part of it. I know I made some blunders when I first stepped into the governor's role, but I'm happy to share my failings so others don't repeat the mistakes. Really brings me back. I know I was trying to do much on my own back then, and I got a bit overzealous. Of course, some lords are like I once was, and would rather manage things at their own sole discretion than leave things to the people. And yes, taking every matter to public opinion can be laborious, and with all the proceedings and disputes. Still, changing our own lives with our own hands makes the process worth the trouble. And choosing a king of our own will was all the inspiration we needed for change. Last, but not least, Juna.
My king.
Probably my favorite of the waifus. Probably best girl. In my humble opinion.
My king.
Ah, there you are. Heard you were in town, so I decided to see if we might cross paths. I have so much to tell you about my inspection, so I'm afraid you'll need to clear up your diary for me soon. What inspection?
Hold on.
Really? Do you need to go back to bed? You were the one who sent me to the Mage Academy, were you not?
Well,
The Mage Academy's reconstruction is going swimmingly, repairs are in full swing, and we're already processing ambitions. I must say, I'm still surprised you appointed me of all people to be the Academy's headmistress. I was rather looking forward to going back on tour as a songstress. Oh, and shall I introduce you to my furry little friend? I scooped him up at the Academy of all places. During reconstruction, they stumbled on the little guy in some kind of observatory supposedly used by a king long ago. Considering the igniter around his neck, I'm sure he was being taken care of. I mean, there's no way a cat could survive alone in that cold, could he?
so
Regardless, our mysterious kitty is only the tip of the iceberg when it comes to the Academy. All that knowledge was lost when it fell, so we're starting from scratch. May even be hiding secrets as big as the Dragon Temple or the Sanctum. Oh, and I'm keeping the cat. Feels like fate, you know?
speaking of which,
On my way back, I met up with Myrtis.
Now we're talking.
She's been keeping well, I hope?
yeah.
More than well. Her throat's been fine, and she's a fairly prominent singer about town. We both just keep soaring to new heights, her in music and me coming face to face with magic again.
Hey.
Surely you remember music was the first magic born in this world, yes? When the heart expresses itself through music, it moves the hearts of others, and when they make hearts swell, why, there's no end to the magic. So just you watch. With music and magic at my side, I'm gonna change the world. All will have equal opportunity to hone their talents at the Mage Academy. Our doors are open to all. That's what my sister would have wanted, and if it makes the world a better place, why isn't that just grand? Bella taught me that magic is more than a tool, it's in all of us, deep in our hearts.